This week on the Spike and Jones podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. So this week, Spike and I had a pretty significant scheduling snafu. And because of that, we dug deep into the Spike and Jones archives and found you this little tasty morsel. Spike and I got together for the Rockstar Superhero podcast a little bit after we met for the first time. Spike really wanted to share what it was like to be in the radio business, and so we had an interview about that. Now, to be fair, Spike and I really weren't so sure this was radio friendly or podcast friendly or entertainment worthy, so we kind of shelved it. Then Thanksgiving week came upon us and we realized we didn't have any material to release this week, so hey, why not dig into the archives? So the podcast you have standing in front of you today is just that, something from the archives. So if it's boring, I'm sorry, and if it's great, well, cool. So with that, I hope you don't mind the background noise because there's a lot. And one tiny little thing to notice is there's no Deep Six. So our apologies and happy Thanksgiving from Spike and Jones. Yahoo!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Spike and Jones.
I saw the clip of him like in an auditorium seeing what it would take to lose women, you know, shoving in her ass. Oh, that's what it took? That's where I lost you?
That's all?
Right. I know. And he's painted orange. You know, it's like subtle.
It's so good.
Subtle.
Okay. I think I like our levels. Do you like our levels?
You know what? I'm sure I do.
Okay.
I'm sure I do.
Let's see.
I don't like that your microphone is bigger than mine. It's shaped like a penis.
Well,
Mine's
yeah.
shaped like a small pink clitoris. That
Actually,
seems kind of...
Actually, if you look at it from the side, this microphone looks like the head on the alien monster.
Yeah, I can see that.
You see it? It's not quite as long.
Was it Wes Craven or who did the alien monster? Somebody
actually designed it?
Yeah.
H.R. Giger.
Giger, that's what it was. Giger.
Yeah,
Right,
and then Ridley Scott was the director.
Right. I knew.
Oh, that movie's freaking classic. You know, I can't stand. I'm gonna be one of those guys. Aliens is a fun movie. Don't get me wrong, and I know it's by far the most popular of the entire series. And I saw it in the theater. But come on, how can people say that that's a better movie than Alien? Am I wrong? Am I just being an elitist? Because I think the original is just so beyond brilliant because it does like Jaws.
Yeah.
It doesn't reveal the monster until, I don't know, 90 minutes in.
Right.
You know, you just see glimpses.
And the unknown is what scares people.
Yeah.
That's you're right. That's the hard way to do it.
Yeah.
The easy way is to, blah,
yeah.
face right
and
on
with the exception of Kane dying, the scene where the chest burster happens. Yeah, spoiler alert from 1979.
I gave you fuckers nearly 40 years.
I mean, the kids born that year have kids.
Yeah, who were old enough to see this movie.
It's bloodless. It's a bloodless movie. That's the only scene.
It really is, yeah.
It is. Yeah. Even when Brett and Ash and all the other people die, and of course, quote unquote robot Ash, even that, of course, there's no blood because it's like milky goo.
Fluid, yeah.
Yeah.
Hydraulic fluid.
So,
which is used in porns, by the way. Yeah. I don't know if you knew that.
I don't know if that's real protein.
It's a combination of powdered sugar and hydraulic fluid.
That's what Michael J. Who is it? Michael J. Fox. Yeah, snorted. No, in Bright Lights, Big City. It was a whole bunch of that fake cocaine powder.
Oh, yeah, inositol, right?
Sugar
that you used to buy
stuff.
at the GNC, and not that I know firsthand. But say you're working out a lot, aren't you?
Does it
work? Ways. That's all you got to know. Does it work? Well, what's the job? It depends, So hi, Confessions of a Former Drug Dealer. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Hi, we're back.
Yeah, and we're back.
And we're back.
Spike and Jones. Or something.
Alias Spike and Jones.
We're trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
So, Spike, what do you have for us today? You were telling me you were going to bring... You probably didn't. You were thinking of bringing an agenda like, hey, Rob, this is what I want to talk about today.
Well, it's funny. This is the third time we've gotten to do this. And if this was dating or sex, we'd be in a committed relationship.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
If you go for a third date,
it's real.
Quit fucking around.
Yeah, it's real.
And if you get to sleep with her 3 times,
Did you get to sleep on the first date? I don't remember that.
No. I'm not saying sleep on the first date.
I don't remember that.
I'm saying sleep for the third time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you hit it again, you know, okay, you both had fun. If you hit it a third time, you guys are into something.
Yeah.
And if you think you got the ability to go out and keep playing around while you're doing somebody a third time, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's true.
I think.
Yeah.
I was raised, you know, Catholic, so that's the standard. If you fuck around after the third time you bang somebody, you're a sinner.
Yeah.
Is that I may have missed a couple lessons at Sunday school, but yeah. We were talking about a through line for this conversation that we have.
Yeah.
And early reviews on this thing that we're doing seem to be that we are pinballing. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of, I lay that at my feet because I'm first off scattered, but over my career I've been able to overcome that. But most importantly, I'm out of practice. This is my, return to professional cycling, if you will.
Your return to greatness.
To conversation, to conversation for the sake of entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought, what could a through line be? And we're finding our way, people. And if we're already recording this, shame on you folks. There should always be a finish. A start line, I think, or a pistol. Should we bring a pistol?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I love falling into a conversation. To me, like a listener, and then let's go down this road because I don't want to distract you. I will say this: that if I'm at a party, which is rare, I do love coming into the fringe of a relationship being developed through a conversation and standing on the edge of it, kind of listening to it and finding a place I can jump in
if I want to,
and if I belong.
Right.
But see, we're inviting that audience in.
Right.
So
see, you got an extra layer of if I belong. I never developed that one. I'm just do I want to or not want to. Yeah. Whether I belong or not's really never been a deciding factor for me, whether I get involved or not. Because most often I don't belong and I inject myself anyway.
Well,
at least into conversations. And that's just a level of ego that thinks I have something to offer that's valuable to any conversation.
Were you like
I don't care if two witch doctors are talking. I was bit by a dog in the ass. If two witch doctors are talking in the jungle, I have something to add to that conversation. I know I do. I was bit in the ass by a dog when I was very little and have a phobia of dogs. Yeah. Seriously, bit in the ass. At like 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning after a sleepover at a friend's house. We had one dog in the neighborhood that was just a monster. You know, and if you had walked by Danny, what's Danny's? Eddie and Danny, was it?
You almost said Danny Bonaducci.
No, I'm thinking Bozak, but that's not it.
Okay.
Anyway, I can't remember. This was like one of my dearest friends when I was 7, but I moved when I was 10. So anyway, his dog would come chase you out the yard every morning.
Huh.
If you walked by that fence, the gate was never closed, and that dog would come and get you.
Wow.
One day, that dog bit me in the ass. Bolger was the name, I believe.
So not Chopper Sick Balls. Remember that from Stand By Me? Chopper Sick Balls.
Yeah.
But basically that dog, right? The crazy neighborhood dog that everybody's afraid of.
Yep. And not a big monster, a mean little fast dog.
Oh.
A mean little mutt fast dog. Bit me right in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the through line today is pain.
Clearly.
No. So I thought, we're trying to find a way to make this more palatable and enjoyable for an audience.
Yeah.
And you had suggested kind of a structured format, kind of a variety show type format where it's like the news of the day, this big story, whatever it may be, whatever recipe or mixture of ideas you want to put into that. I think that the scatteredness of a conversation is cool because it gives you no limits on what you can talk about. Because I'm of the belief that if it's interesting to me, I think other people may find it interesting too.
Right.
And going back to my original point, I don't care. It's interesting to me, and this is cathartic and therapeutic for me. So,
yeah.
But I thought that we're looking for what could be a good through line for a conversation, a podcast, if I can be so bold as to use the word. That's it's like radical Islam. I got to use the word podcast. I cannot be afraid to use it.
Yes, it's not ISIS though.
Right.
There's no beheadings involved.
How'd you to be a kid named ISIS these days, by the way? Because there were kids named ISIS.
Speaking of sidetrack.
Yeah, how'd you be a kid named ISIS in Donald Trump's America? I thought entertainment would be a good through line, mostly because it's something that I have a knowledge of, I think.
Yeah.
And that it is woven into every fabric of our life. I mean, literally, as I thought about, you gave me the homework of coming up with something to talk about instead of just randomly bouncing from thought to thought to thought. And I thought that, if we had a theme line through the whole podcast, that could be a way for us to kind of dance around different things and always have the returning touchstone of entertainment.
Right. We need the card here on our table to remind us, though. It's like when we get off track, we have to like slap a bell or something. Like, hey, look at the card.
How's that relate to entertainment? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, the hardest part about this, is this is I've used the term before. This is kind of a narcissistic endeavor, right? It really is kind of like, well, this is what Rob likes to do. This is what Spike likes to do. And we just go off on these tangents. But you know what? I would say, and I would throw not so much you under the bus, but maybe your feelings about where your skill set is right now. Look, I mean, I've been an amateur from day one on this, and maybe someday I'll get my 10,000 hours and I'll be good. I mean, really, seriously. I'm a 10,000-hour drummer. I can play.
Okay.
I can really, truly play. But this, I'm just smart enough. I'm certainly not whip smart, but I'm just smart enough and still have enough mental acuity to, I think, play ball, right? I think that's maybe fair. I can hit singles, but dude, you're a freaking home run hitter. And I know you don't necessarily think you are right now. Maybe you feel like you used to be. Right. But the people that have actually sent me private messages, or, you know, when I went to a concert last week, I hung out with two of my friends and they were both like, man, I heard the podcast and it was killer. I mean, Spike's on.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, yeah. So those people really, really enjoy it.
Did these people share their drugs with you? Clearly, you're running with a risky, seedy crowd. Well, you know, it's a funny, the outlier, the 10,000-hour thing. You know, in a quick math in my head, 20 hours a week, you know, 50 weeks a year, 48 weeks a year, 47 weeks a year. But for 25 years, I got about 20,000 plus hours of doing morning radio. Yeah. And you learn a few things. Yeah. You know, you don't cuss. Yeah. And when they put cameras in the room, stop picking your nose. Other than that, I'm still learning. You know, that's pretty much all I was able to pick up.
But it is amazing that can occur. So as an example, you and I are sitting here and it's kind of free form, free for all. We could do whatever we want. We both realize we probably shouldn't. Right. But we could do. But we aren't necessarily held down by, you know, FCC standards. It doesn't mean we should drop F-bombs all day, but we could, right?
Fuck yeah.
It is an interesting thing, that paradigm shift that occurs when a professional, and I would say professional because I don't think everybody does this, excuse me, but a professional can walk into a room, know they're on the air, know there's cameras in the room, and they're very, very clearly aware, keenly aware. And as you had mentioned before, in your entire career, you slipped up once.
Right. I dropped one F-bomb.
In 25 years.
Yeah, and that was out of anger mostly. Yeah. I was getting going, and the blood pressure started rising, and the speech pattern got faster, and dropped an F-bomb.
Do you remember what it was? It clearly wasn't Trump.
No. It was like, this was going to be 96 or 7. Okay. Somewhere in there. We're still at the old KISW studios on Aurora Avenue. Hadn't moved over to the spam cans by the convention center yet. And that move was in 98. So, you know, I don't remember, I don't remember what we were talking about. The shock and awe of Bob's face when I said "fucking this" or what, that was the, it was a blanket. It was a descriptive. Yeah. You know.
Was that ever an issue with the old show? Was anybody? Were you the only one that they were worried about?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I had a feeling. Oh yeah. It always felt like I was listening to a funny church service.
That's a great analogy
with Spike.
Oh, thanks.
Featuring Spike.
Reverend Snake Handler here. Friends.
No, it did.
The divine.
Although, I mean, I would say that Bob's definitely seemed indifferent about, well, most things, but indifferent about his faith. And I mean, the last thing I want to do is talk about that. I really don't want to talk about that. But I remember listening even close to the end, the retirement, period, and going like, oh, that guy's just kind of like a lapsed church guy.
Yeah.
Just really mellow, pretty safe.
He was a victim of Christianity.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, sounds like it.
Which is cool. And I was raised in a, fallen Catholic home, and not to get too deep into religion, but I think religion serves a wonderful purpose. Yeah. But it also can be used as a weapon, and more often than not, that's what it devolves into, I think.
Right.
So
I'll apologize to everybody for adjusting the pots and realizing that this one's a little dirty.
Yeah. Is that yours or mine or ours?
Yours.
That's mine. Yeah, I got a dirty pot.
Yeah. Well, and I screwed up a second ago because I was trying to mute mute this to cough, and I actually muted your channel.
I heard it. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, listeners.
That's okay.
Fortunately, it was a half a second. So, what have you come up with today, or have you?
Well, I wanted to find something that I had I thought a depth of knowledge on, and I thought that entertainment would be a fine through line for this conversation because it would give me the opportunity to talk about how we did our show. If folks might find that interesting. You had said
Very
to me,
much.
folks would like to know what we did, how we did what we did for so long, because we're such a part of people's lives. And an entertainment underlying overarching theme would give the opportunity for me to speak about something that I knew, make me comfortable, hopefully help me find my rhythm into doing this again on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But it's also something that is kind of a catch-all for everything we do, because everything in our lives, I think, has been morphed into or overtaken by its element of entertainment. And maybe it's always been that way for everything. And maybe I'm just, looking at things now from a perspective of, oh, okay, this really is a game show.
Right, being on the outside and seeing it.
Right. Everything's entertainment, whether it's advertising, whether it's politics, whether it's family raising, whatever it is, it's all entertainment. Business is entertainment. It's all entertainment.
Yeah.
Sales are entertainment.
I don't know about that.
Well, I think if you can make people glad they came, make them want to come again, they've got to enjoy the experience. They've got to enjoy the experience, I think. I mean, of course, there are exceptions to every rule, but, some things you buy because you have to. You don't enjoy buying a mattress, but if you like the guy that sells it to you, and
True.
the jingles are fun.
True.
Sleep country, or whatever it is. That's jingles are catchy because they're entertaining.
Yeah.
And they
that's
work.
true.
Advertising is entertainment. Advertising is just sales.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting because you just brought up Sleep Country's ad. The little jingle.
Another sleep train.
Yeah,
by
sleep
the way.
train.
Your ticket to a better night's sleep.
Cook.
Yeah, that was a ballsy move, by the way. I know the gentleman who owns a company. I had a chance to work for them.
Yeah.
In the way of an endorsement before. And the guy who owns Sleep Train, his story's fascinating.
Really?
Yeah. He's a young guy who was going to school for business on his parents' dime. His parents were European in descent, and they wanted him to do better than they did. And he took a job during the summer break from school to work at a mattress factory.
Okay.
And in his business school education, he came to the realization that if you're going to sell something that everybody needs, not just what they want, because they'll always, and something that they buy on a regular basis. And he was working in a mattress store during the summer times, or a mattress factory, and said, I should sell mattresses. And he told his parents he wanted to, get into the mattress game. And they told him no, stay in school. We didn't pay for all this college for you to become a salesman. So he saved up enough money to send his parents to Europe for 2 weeks. I swear to God.
I can see where this is going.
And while they were out of the country, he had rented a storefront and opened a mattress store.
Wow.
And when his parents came back, who were funding his education, when his parents came back to the country, he's like, well, this has to become a success. Otherwise, I failed at it. I don't want to fail at anything. And so they said, okay. And little by little, he, built his empire and then started acquiring his competition. Yeah. Which all good companies do. It's what Microsoft does. It's what everybody does. You buy up things that are smarter than you and make them part of your army.
Yeah. You steal their idea, brand.
You co-opt it. Well, the gentleman who owns Sleep Train, he had Sleep Country, he had bought Sleep Train, and I forget which one was bigger, wherever it was. But he had the Sleep Country moniker, and he wanted to just throw it away and make everything a Sleep Train store.
Yeah,
that's a ballsy move when you've got an established brand like Sleep Country was, he bought that from when Sonny Kobe Cook was. But Dale, the owner of Sleep Train down in California, bought that and decided it's just one name, one brand moving forward.
Well, that's interesting because back in, it would have been in maybe.
My phone, I
that's
apologize.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. We're all good. Yeah. We'll survive. It's not live. It's Memorex.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Say hi.
I'm not going to take the call from our drummer, Jeff Cathan.
Yeah. You have a drummer sitting right across the table from you. That's cool.
Maybe he could smell that I'm with another drummer.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Are you with another drummer?
Wait a minute. This is your third date.
Yeah, right. See? We got something going here. That is the comedy callback, people.
That's right.
The comedy callback, one of the oldest crutches in comedy.
Yeah. You see how I did that? I'm an amateur, but I'm figuring
Take
it out.
my wife, please.
Yeah.
I tell you, I get no respect. The comedy callback.
Yeah. In 1999, my wife and I bought a bed. We'd just gotten married, and we decided to go down to Sleep Country's Sleep Train. And we went to Sleep Country first and felt like the service was kind of crappy. Like they just kind of expected us to buy because they're freaking Sleep Country, right? I mean, why buy a mattress anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
And so we thought, let's go over to Sleep Train. So we go over to Sleep Train. And I'm realizing I'm seeing the same mattresses and almost the exact same setup, but just different moniker, name, excuse me. Salesman comes up to me and I go, so, how much is this one or whatever? He's like $1,000. I'm like, I go, I think I'm just going to go back to Sleep Country. And he goes, we own Sleep Country, right? And this was in 99.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're saying Sonny Kobe Cook was there at the time. I never understood really why they kept it apart outside of, if you own both sides.
You want to know why?
It was just, I just figured it was like, hey, you can sell more because people think they're getting deals at opposite stores.
Right. Dale, the owner of that corporation company, great guy, told us, look, people buy either on price or they buy on quality.
Yeah.
I want to have both people. I own both stores. This one's my discount store. This one's my high-end store.
Interesting.
So, I don't care what, everybody needs a bed. I don't care where you buy it. You're buying it from me.
Yeah.
That's why he bought up every bed store. Now the guy owns like every mattress store west of the Mississippi.
Wow.
I mean, he owns part of the Sacramento Kings.
Wow.
He helped build the building down there. It was funny when the Sonics were gone and we were trying to woo the Kings up here. We're doing Sleep Country endorsements and he comes to town every year. This gentleman comes down with his management team every year and literally sits down with every endorser he has in the country and says thank you and asks, what could we do better? How could we make our commercials better? How can we be a better company for you to represent?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody. That's what he does. I told him one day, I said, I wish you sold watches and refrigerators and snow tires. There's nothing I wouldn't buy from this guy the way he does his business.
Right.
When you say you go in and you found you weren't treated with kid gloves, it shocks me. Because when they hire somebody, they train them for months before they let them on the public.
Yeah, I think it was right after that acquisition, and again, maybe it's not worth talking about, but I just found it interesting that how they had it set up. And I, coming from the professional music world and realizing that professional musicians rarely make enough money to actually sustain their lives. They need to work a second, third, or fifth job. I worked at a piano store and sold pianos over in Bellevue. And we owned all these piano stores all across the West Coast, and they were variations on the theme, meaning, one was a Yamaha dealership, and then there was a Steinway dealership. And they would cross-sell. They just basically forced the traffic over there, and it was the same owner. Right,
but that's have it's kind of like your politicians. It doesn't matter where you shop, you're still working for me.
Cross-pollination.
It really is.
So, entertainment. Let's actually do something entertaining. I don't think we've done anything.
The irony of an entertaining show based on entertainment that's not entertaining.
We've yet entertained anyone today.
Well, it's people always, and I find this bizarre that people are interested in how our show was done. Maybe I could tell you about that.
Yeah, please do. I want to know.
Okay, so the Bob Rivers show, which I was lucky to be a part of for 25 years, was Bob Rivers was one of the true talents in radio, I think, and I was privileged to work with him side by side for 25 years. He had an amazing sense of what an audience was interested in, and he could tell stories, and he knew when something had legs and when something was dead. That was his great gift. Plus, he surrounded himself by talented people. Most great people in their industry will gather to them talents and let people do what they do best. Bob was a firm believer in not making someone do something they didn't really want to do because they would never give it their best and do it to, like it needed to be done. So he's like, okay, you do what you do well, and we'll find somebody else who does the crap you don't want to do, and we'll make them do that. We'll find somebody who enjoys doing that part of this. That's how his team was assembled, over the years, and we did that. And it was Bob was the conductor of an orchestra, if you will, and everyone played a different instrument in that band, and we all got to enjoy our talents and make the most of our talents. And he built a team that complemented each other. Their talents were, made a nice soup of the morning show. Everybody brought something completely different, but the sum of the parts were all greater. That's how we did our show. And on a daily basis, we would have, a clock, a calendar, a schedule for the show every day. And we would plan certain things at certain times of the day. There are things in radio called benchmarks where every day at 7:15 we'll do the blah, blah, blah. We'll do the Battle of the Sexes, the War of the Roses, the whatever hack bit you've all heard 1,000 times on 1,000 different stations.
Right.
We had very few of those benchmarks. We would do them when we had to. Usually it's around a promotion coming up or around an event that's coming up, those kind of things. That's kind of serial radio. That's kind of, people have, they're waiting for something to happen, and it's like an engagement every day. It could be here at 7:15 tomorrow. We'll give you a computer.
Right.
We'll ask the question. We'll play the song that you have to
be
hear.
the ninth caller.
Right. And that's very formula radio. One thing that allowed us to be different was the fact that we were, given the luxury of blow-in schedules out the window. If something was working, we wrote it.
Nice.
We were able to put off things because we had success in the ratings, and you can't do anything unless you have leverage.
Right.
So they trusted that we knew what we were doing, and they let us do what we thought would work best.
Yeah.
So we were able to do that, and we would have, we're a show that had guests, but not to the point of we were the meat of the show.
Yeah.
Guests were just, extra something to chew on during the show.
And they were the tail of the show.
Well,
if I remember correctly. Like when Emilio came on, he was at like 8:55.
Musical guests were always in the 9 o'clock hour usually.
Right.
But we would have try to get like one guest an hour, but it wasn't a hard fast rule. There were four different kind of guests you could have. You could have a celebrity, you could have an expert, you could have a hawker, and you could have a freak.
Didn't you play like 3 of those?
Often I would be, I was always the guy. We found the doctor who attached Wayne Bobbitt's penis.
Exactly. It's a little off kilter.
Yeah, right. Well, that's one of the old, Saturday Night Live type bit.
Right.
A fake interview type bit.
Right.
And it's funny. Toward the end of our show, we stopped doing those very much, and that was kind of my fault.
Huh.
Because I kind of got lazy.
Really?
And I was able to just improv crap and instead of doing a whole bit about this. And I enjoyed being more organic and spontaneously funny than trying to write out a bit where Bob asks a series of questions and I write joke answers to those questions.
Right.
That's your typical. You watch Stephen Colbert does it the other night.
Yeah.
I'm going to interview Melania Trump in quotation marks. That's your typical table chair bit. We got to the point where we could just start doing it on the fly. All the jokes I was going to write for a bit, we would just start doing live. So bits still happen, but they happened organically.
Okay, so when the bits first came out, they were actually pre-recorded?
Scripted, but not pre-recorded.
Okay, so they're never pre-recorded.
Right. Well, some bits were. There was a bit I did where I was a roving reporter, and it had tons of sound effects.
I think I remember
Bart
that.
Grungeman, I think the name was. Dude, your burnout character, dude. And I would script that and record that with sound effects and play that as a self-contained, pre-recorded, like a song parody would be.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
So when they always talked about Bob's garage, where was that stuff? Was it actually recorded at Bob's garage?
In front of his house, where the cars were kept. Yeah, it was in his house.
That's so cool.
Because we made Twista Tunes at Bob's house. He had a home studio.
Yeah. So
we would bring musicians in to track songs, and then that evolved into bands would be coming through town, and they wanted to promote a show at the wherever, Off-Ramp, Showbox, Firehouse in Ballard.
Off-Ramp.
Whatever.
This is 1992.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah.
And so a touring band would come through town, and Bob had this amazing gear, and we had Blue Oyster Cult. I think one of the first ones we did was Blue Oyster Cult live in Bob's garage.
That's so awesome.
And at this point, Bob really didn't. It was the first home he lived in Seattle. I hope he doesn't mind me saying all this. But there wasn't really a recording studio.
Well, we're not giving addresses.
Right.
So
Well, the second house he lived in, he actually built a whole studio in the basement of this house. A full-on recording studio with isolation booths.
That's the one out of town, right?
Right. Yeah. And he always lived out in the North Bend area. Everybody knows that. It's no secret there.
Yeah.
When Blue Oyster Cult played, when you record a song for Twista Tunes, you record pieces individually and build it. When you record in a band, everybody plays live.
Right.
Well, we didn't have the luxury of isolation then, so literally the drummer was set up in Bob's garage, move the cars out, leave the bay doors open so there's no echo, get a nice big warm sound. We had the bass player in the bathroom, his amp, microphoned. We had Buck Dharma's guitars, amps in the living room, mic'd up.
Yeah, so you could isolate them.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Blue Oyster Cult is playing like Don't Fear the Reaper.
That's so awesome.
In Bob's garage. But if you stand in the drums, all you hear is the drummer.
Right.
And they're all standing there with headphones on, listening to their mix, listening to each other, looking for visual cues from the band, as all bands use.
Yeah.
And you could just hear the drummer, though. But if you walked outside the garage and walked around the house, you could hear the bass coming through the windows of the bathroom, and you could hear the guitars coming through the windows of the living room.
Wow.
And you could kind of walk around the house so you got the right mix of the band.
That's so cool.
It was that was Bob's Garage. And we Foghat came to Bob's Garage.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Lonesome Dave came, I got to sing high harmonies on Fool for the City.
Oh.
And Slow Ride with Foghat. If there's like a Live in Bob's Garage CD floating around out there somewhere, and I'm singing on it, with Foghat. It's like,
yeah,
it's the coolest thing,
For the city. Yeah. That's awesome. Did was there ever neighborhood complaints with the?
Oh my God, they would show up in droves and bring albums to get signed and crap.
Okay.
And
so it's like, hey guys, just so you know, we're going to have a whole bunch of famous people here, and you're going to have to deal with it. And then
he didn't live like on a cul-de-sac either. He lived, in the county where there's room and there was some trees on his. Wasn't a big lot. You could see his neighbor's house through a few trees. But there, a tour bus would pull up on the street and park. A tour bus. And neighbors would come out, and they'd all be watching and meeting their star heroes. And
we got to get there, dude. We got to do that.
I know,
again.
it was so much fun. It was so much fun. Robin Trower played there. Paul Rogers played there.
Yeah.
Ozzy came to Bob's house once. He didn't play, but we had made a song parody, the "I Am Santa Claus" song, right?
Did you do the voice?
What
was it you doing?
Rockfish did the voice actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was funny because we always kind of had I don't want to say John and Paul kind of, rivalry for who got to sing, but we did, and we made us both better. I could do that better than him. I can do it better than you. And Bob was kind of, he was always okay. Well, you did last.
He's the referee.
He's like, oh, you've done this. Let this one. Let Spike do this one, Fish. Blah 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 blah. But we had Ozzy was coming through town, and we were promoting the show. And this was when Ozzy was touring as a solo act, and it was probably Ozzy's wobbliest.
Like 94, 95.
So, yeah. Somewhere in there.
Post Crazy Babies.
Right. And it wasn't like Ozzy's talent was diminished, but the TV show hadn't exploded yet. He wasn't an icon quite yet. He was a rock star who'd kind of almost thrown it all away kind of moment of his life.
The second time.
Right. So when he came to Bob's house to film a couple pieces for the video, and we got to hang out with Ozzy and interview Ozzy.
Was he discernible? Because, man, when that dude drinks, you can't understand a word he says.
That was...
Yeah. Sharon. All you hear is the word Sharon about every 8 beats.
He'd stammer and stutter and blah, blah, blah. He did so much damage, but it's so fun. That's kind of funny. When Ozzy was on stage, when Ozzy gets on stage...
It all goes away.
A switch flips, and he becomes the consummate professional. Who was the guy that stuttered? Mel Tillis.
Yeah.
Right? Couldn't talk. But when he sang, because you go to that place in your head that your body just knows what to do and takes over.
Yeah.
Like
muscle memory.
Right. Like a guitar player or drummer, you don't have to think about it. You know what to do. You practice till your muscle memory knows what to do.
Yeah, that's true.
In the same way when Ozzy performs. They literally had a handler on each side of him helping him walk across the room.
Wow.
Literally. He was kind of baby steps, like shuffle across the room.
Yeah, shuffle with his hands down like a puppy.
Right.
Yeah, like a little T-Rex.
But that night he's on stage at the Key Arena and just world-class talent.
Wow.
World-class talent.
Did you guys always get I would imagine backstage passes for all that kind of stuff?
We got to do a bunch of fun stuff like that. I got to meet all these my heroes, I got a picture with my wife, with Angus Young from AC/DC, and he's got his head all snuggled up into her boobs and stuff. We love that,
because he's that tall.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They all are.
Yeah, 5'3",
AC/DC's like the end of Close Encounters.
Yeah.
They're all literally, little midgets running around. They're all tiny. It's funny though, all the really great ones are tiny.
Yeah.
And I think that's got a lot. I met Tom Petty, tiny.
Peter North.
Right, tiny. They're all tiny.
Everybody's like, what?
Who?
What are you talking about?
Funny.
He is, though. He's a little guy.
Yeah.
They're all little guys. It kind of amplifies everything else.
Well, I think that's kind of what makes them great, because they get little man syndrome.
Yeah.
And they always had to prove themselves.
That's true.
Through music, that's what most of them ended up doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Cliff was the tallest, like at 5'8".
And he was the Richard Dreyfuss at the end of the movie while the rest of AC/DC came up around his armpits,
So true. That's so funny. So you guys did a lot of live stuff. Mm-hmm. So tell us more about the show, and what was it like? What am I missing?
The show was Bob was first and foremost the gatekeeper and the ringmaster, and he would play us like an orchestra.
Right.
But we were all accountable for content. Our credo every day was to not run out of gas, not run out of stuff to talk about. And it happened once, maybe twice in 25 years where we were just out of stuff.
Yeah.
And we learned from that. And it was a constantly evolving show as what the show took to put into it, and what came out of it was always evolving. But we always made it our mission to have twice as much content as we could ever possibly use.
Yeah.
Ever. So we never ran out of gas. We never ran out of content, I should say. And Bob knew when the subject was dead and would move on.
But that also explains space and why space is so important, because it isn't just for the listener. Like, Phil Collins as a drummer, famous for space, right? Never overplays the song.
Right.
A lot of people think he's not a good drummer, and they don't understand what a great drummer he truly is. A capable, technical drummer he is. You guys were all the same, capable, technical, but you had a show that was orchestrated and controlled in a way that there was a lot of space, because it did two things. It allowed space, I'm assuming, for the listener to actually process what they were hearing. And two, it allowed time to stretch so you didn't run out of material before you hit the 9 o'clock hour.
Well, those are both true, but those skills were beaten into us.
Yeah.
I mean, literally beaten into us verbally and
daily?
mentally. Yeah. Because, the worst is when people start talking over each other and you can't hear what's going on. And, I hear shows on the air now where people are just rushing to get to an answer. I couldn't tell you how many times I was told, look, when I ask a question, I'm not looking for an answer from you. I'm asking the audience a question. I want them to engage at home, because now they're a part of this.
Yeah.
If I say to you, why does a guy do something like this? I don't want you to tell me the answer. I don't care if you know it. Yeah. I want the audience to think about that question and I'm sorry, I'll turn that off. My phone's.
Spike has terrible manners. Terrible manners.
No, that's one of my daughters. So
that's important. Come on now, it's okay. I think the listeners can handle it.
I understand. My little dingy dongy on my phone.
Yeah.
So letting a show breathe.
Yeah.
Gives you the ability to expand on ideas. It gives the audience a chance to become engaged and become an actual physical engaged part of the program, and that's what digs into their mind. It's what makes us a part of your life.
Yeah,
is that we can include you, even if it's you sitting in the car coming up with the same answer to a question that Bob just asked that Spike comes up with. But I hear show hosts today ask a question or get to a point, and one of the co-hosts will yell the answer that he was about to say, just because they want to hear themselves talk, or because they're trying to impress their show host, who's a bit of a bully.
Yeah.
And always putting down his cohorts. And so as a psychological self-defense mechanism, they're going to show him just how smart they are.
Right, show him up.
Right, or not show him up, but say, I got there too.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we were all going to get there.
Yeah, I mean, the hardest part about this, and even for a guy like me, I would like to think I have a fairly good hold on space in the podcast, letting people, talk and answer. But I do find it was certainly worse in the beginning, right? When you're starting something like this, it's not so much that I desire to impress, but I just don't want to look like a freaking moron to the guest.
Well, I don't think. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm a little flummy.
I am too. They can deal with it. Check it out.
It's not that you're trying to impress; it's that you want to deliver.
Yeah.
You want people to be glad they came here and come back again.
Absolutely.
So I'm not trying to impress you with what I know. I'm trying to reward you for giving us your time.
Right.
I mean, you made an investment to give us some part of your life.
But I did.
So the least we can do, is be worth it.
Yeah.
Is to earn what you gave us, the time you gave us. And that's kind of how we viewed the show every day.
Yeah.
We had, before we move off the show, how it was built.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Storytelling was the key. Storytelling is the oldest medium on earth. Everything was storytelling. Everything is always has been, always will be storytelling. Politics is storytelling. Sales is storytelling. It used to be a guy around a campfire. Then it was a radio. Then it was a TV show, movies, whatever. It's all storytelling. Everybody every day on that show was accountable to have at least 3 topics that were worth a story, that were communicable to the audience, relative, I should say, not communicable like a disease, that they could that had relevance to the audience, something they could relate to, and that had legs. I went to buy groceries last night. It's not a story, but I went to buy groceries, and why are so many people wearing their pajamas in public? That's a story. That asks a question. Yeah, I mean that's a story. I mean, and you every day there was a list, everybody's name, and 1, 2, 3, or you could have 5, 7, 8 things up there. You could have one thing up there, but you had to have Bob had to have the ability to go to anybody and say, okay, tell me what happened when you took your daughter to school yesterday. You came in just befuzzled yesterday, and I'm hearing that it was something that happened. What happened? And you launch into the story, and you talk about the relative, nature of it. So, oh yeah, that happened to me. They're at home. They're listening. Oh yeah, I'm there. I've been there. Everybody knows the story of my daughter's cell phone getting stolen.
Yeah.
And me going to recover it one night, looking like the biker from Raising Arizona. It's relative because everybody's got a kid. Everybody's got a kid who's broken or lost a phone. Everybody's had something happen in their life that is just too much.
Yeah.
I know you've lost phones. I've bought you numerous phones. I've had it with buying you new phones. I mean, if it was the first phone my daughter ever had lost, I wouldn't give a rat's ass.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have got on my motorcycle dressed in leathers at midnight and taken an ice axe to a stranger's tent in a field at midnight and got my daughter's phone back. But I'd had enough, and everybody can relate to I've had enough.
An ice axe.
Seriously, man. You know what an ice axe is?
Yes,
right?
I do.
I shoved it down the back of my jacket, so like rode down the middle of my spine, and the blades were across my shoulder blades.
Yeah.
And I rode into town on my Harley at midnight and got my daughter's damn phone back.
That's awesome.
But everybody had something on their list every day.
Yeah.
So we had content. We had content that was guest driven. We had content that was news driven, whether it be political, entertainment, whatever, news of the day. Why can't the city build a light rail system?
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then human content that was relative to the audience content. That's how we built the show every day.
Yeah. Was the show simulcast? My brain tells me it was.
It was and wasn't. It was for periods of time. For the most part, it wasn't. We're just broadcasting for Seattle, which is much easier. We tried a couple of times. We were on the air once in Anchorage, Portland, Vegas, Seattle, and LA
right
at the same time.
Right.
And then that's funny because it broadens your palette.
Yeah.
But it also hamstrings you about being local and relevant or relative to your audience.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's not like a show like Delilah's show,
right?
Because it's run
a national.
She does that across the water.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. But humans are humans no matter where they squat.
Right.
And when you're talking about relationship radio, that's fine.
Right. That's what I was getting at.
Right.
Her stuff is basically Casey Kasem equals love. Right. It's that whole.
Yeah.
We're just gonna today we're gonna long distance dedication,
sure,
and all of a sudden whatever.
Everybody wants to hear a good happy story.
My endless love.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, we're both struggling with the throat thing today. I think it's just a cruddy, I don't know, that first onslaught of true fall weather here. But my gosh, man, it's killing me.
Well,
So, who was the best storyteller on the show?
Bob.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Masterful storyteller. Masterful.
What was it?
Because he worked at it.
Okay.
He worked at it.
Did he rehearse it
a
before
long
he
time?
Came on?
Well, no, but he was on radio 40 plus years. He got paid to work at it. He got paid to rehearse.
Yeah.
He did it for 20 hours a week, 4 hours of live radio a day. You have to create material. It's funny. You go see comedians and they tour the country and they're brilliant, but they've honed their act. Excuse me. To your point, they've honed their act and they tell that act over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Radio doesn't have that luxury. You have to come up with new stuff every single day.
Yeah.
But the act of storytelling was evolved, and he was just a great storyteller.
Wow.
He could engage you, and he could make you feel like you were talking to that one person. The oldest accent in radio is pretending you're talking to one person. I know program directors that would say literally, hang a picture in your studio. That's Shirley. She's 37 years old. She's got 2 kids. She's got a car. Her husband, blah, blah, blah. That's our audience. Talk to Shirley. Okay.
There's a sale on Tampax at Payless.
Oh, how sexist of you. Maybe she wants to buy condoms. How do you know?
That's wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
Sorry, racist Rob.
No. Come on, be yourself.
No, I know. I am myself. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bob's a wonderful storyteller. I mean, Bob was a great traffic cop. He was a great facilitator. Bob's maybe greatest skill set whatsoever was that he never needed to be the star.
Yeah.
He was very generous with the spotlight. He would take, it was always the Bob Rivers show, and that was never on the table. But he was always happy to let someone else score the touchdown.
Yeah.
Score the winning basket.
And he wasn't a type A guy.
No, not really. I couldn't say he was.
Yeah, he wasn't an uptight guy.
He had type A tendencies. He was uptight because he cared about product quality.
Yeah.
He was uptight about that.
That makes sense.
Well, you have to be.
Yeah, you have to care about something.
It's funny. Most great radio people are impossible to work with.
Yeah?
Just impossible. You hear stories about all the great ones were just assholes. Horrible to work with. But that's because they were, passionate and committed to the point of being committed, literally, locked up committed to making sure that they did the best they could do and be the best they could be.
So you guys followed a pretty standard thing, though, right? I mean, you had your news of the day, your commentary, your sort of jokey sections, your sort of free-for-all sections,
right.
your pre-cut entertainment,
bits,
your
right.
bits.
Right.
What was your most popular thing? Did you have one that would just kind of like blew everything else out of the water?
Twista Tunes were a benchmark that nobody else could do that people relate to years later, and that's cool because that was a skill set that we developed, and that was kind of my intro to the show.
Right.
I think I told you that story once before, how my first week I wrote 2 parodies for him, and then when they were being produced, I sang it for him, and I blew the guy out of the water, so I said, okay, you've got a job. That was my in.
Yeah.
But that was something that was unique to us, that we could do better than anybody in the country.
Yeah.
And
you could produce it fast.
You could. It helps when you can. I'm already working on my Donald Trump lost the election song, so that's ready the next day. And
Are you
that's
really?
hard. Oh God, you think? Of course, of course.
Do you have a studio at home too?
No, but you don't have to anymore. I mean, that's the beauty of this. You don't have to have a home studio.
Yes,
you can find
GarageBand.
Right, you can find plug in. You buy a good microphone. That's everything. Quality in, quality out. And set it up on your freaking iPad, and you can play GarageBand and build a song.
Yeah.
The internet has given me access to karaoke music beds, that are, and you go fishing around till you find that's the exact song for the 99% of the time. You're going to find exactly what you want musically. And then it's just a matter of having somebody who can actually, engineer a session, a good place to record, and good microphone going in. You can make a song. I did a song a couple weeks ago, was the Donald on cocaine to Have You Ever Seen the Rain?
Yeah.
After the first debate, and had it on the next day.
Right.
But I want to make sure that this one we see this one coming.
Yeah.
There's if anybody who's
the writing's on
surprised,
the wall.
anybody's surprised on the 9th of November that we need a song saying Donald Trump go away, and I keep, toying with ideas. What's going to be the one? Because it's funny when you write songs about politics, as you know, no matter what you say, half the country thinks you're full of shit.
Absolutely.
It's funny.
My entire family.
The great ones say something and both sides complain about it. That's when you've done it right.
Yeah.
When both sides think you're screwing them over.
Yeah.
That's like in sales, it's a good negotiation. Both sides think they could have done better. That's a good negotiation.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking ideas for a Donald Trump song for Get Out of Town, go away.
So when you watch something like Saturday Night Live and you see, of course, conservative media says it's an attack on our guy, but man, they mock Clinton constantly.
They're mocking her.
Yeah.
The shimmy and the
the whole.
You think you should drop out? Oh no.
Yeah.
They play to the fact that she knows she's taken on a tool.
Yeah.
And any other Republican could have knocked her freaking socks off. Could have just crushed her. Anybody? No, I don't know. The 16 dwarfs that took on Donald in the primaries, I don't think any of them were worth a shit.
Well,
none of them.
They were all
shit.
To me, they were all
flawed.
It was like a collection of has-beens and wannabes.
Yeah, right.
And the only reason Trump stood out is because he had a TV show. Seriously, to me, it feels to me that Trump had just sort of been pre-positioned for the opportunity because he had some moderate stage presence, and he had bluster.
He had masterful entertainment skills.
Bluster.
Right. He played that primary system like a reality show. He made the process of finding a president an entertainment show.
Yeah.
And he was eminently overqualified and beyond. None of them were close to his league.
Yeah.
And plus he's a master manipulator of opinion. He's a master manipulator of media. Little Marco.
Right.
Low energy Jeb.
Yeah.
Lion Ted, crooked Hillary.
Yeah.
That's genius branding. Genius.
Yeah.
That's from the Goebbels school of branding.
Yeah.
I mean, not to make the Hitler comparison, because the guy's obviously not going to round up 6 million people and gas them.
Yeah.
But the public persuasion tactics are textbook.
Yeah.
That's what you do, but that's sales. And it's entertainment. It's all the same shit.
But this goes back to our conversation. Was it last week or the week before when we were talking about the fact that Trump, was a Democrat and then converted over because he saw the spot, because he knew Republicans were dumb and would take it.
What, the People magazine article, 98, right?
Yeah.
If I ran as a Republican.
Yeah.
Because they're idiots and my numbers would be huge.
Yeah. I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy. Although we talked about this as well, I do like the occasional sexy one, the one that maybe could be true. And I've never heard this, but in the back of my head, I would like to think that the reason Trump is where he's at right now is because the Clinton campaign paid him so much money to be such an abhorrent person that it would assure a victory for them, that he's a shill. Do you like that idea?
I've heard the idea. I don't buy the idea because of his nature.
Yeah.
His nature is that no one's better than him.
Yeah, but it's money, man.
But you know what, though? He's had money. He'll get more money. Money comes and goes.
Yeah.
When you're a narcissist, your ego's everything.
That's true.
Bigger than money.
Yeah, yeah.
Money comes and goes. But being the Donald, if he gets played, I think he's dim enough and shallow enough to get played. I don't think he's strong enough to go in knowing he was being played, to be a pawn.
Yeah, he's a true narcissist.
He's
the real thing.
All politicians are, to a degree. You got to be loved.
But he's the real deal.
He's the real McCoy, isn't he? Yeah. It's heartbreaking that people are so bought into it. It breaks my heart. I'm looking through Facebook, which is, first off,
bad idea.
It's self-flogging. It's that guy from the Da Vinci Code who beat himself every day with a whip. That's what logging on social media is these days, to watch the circus crash.
Yeah.
And I see this post: if Hillary Clinton's elected, no Constitution, blah blah blah, no Second Amendment, yada yada, boom boom boom, and my dad posted it. I mean, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and people cut and paste stuff. They don't even read it.
God.
They just cut and paste it because they want to jump on that bandwagon, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, and that's human nature. Everybody wants to be part of the winning team. Everybody wants to feel like they've got the right answer. I thought that too. That makes me feel better about myself.
Yeah.
That's human nature.
Yeah.
That's self-defense. I can't fault people for that.
No, and I don't either, but every once in a while, and I even got caught in something the other day that and granted, it was kind of a mean tactic that a friend of mine had posted a photo of twins, a sonogram of twins. And they just had a couple of other children, so they posted this. I was like, whoa, they're going to have twins. And it said, and the whole thing, hey, we just found out we're going to have twins. We're not sure if it's a boy or a girl, blah, 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 blah. So a whole paragraph. Well, come on. I don't want to read the whole paragraph. Congratulations, you have twins, right? And the very last line of the paragraph was, I don't know who the father is, something, something, something. And it was a joke. It was just a joke. And so I went down automatically and typed this big long thing about what it's like to have twins and congratulations, and it was like, you didn't read it, and I was like, fuck you,
really?
You know what I mean?
You're smarter than me.
You got me, you little whippersnapper.
Yeah, thanks for wasting my time.
You scallywag.
Yeah, Thanks for clearing up my day because I delete you as a friend.
Right, but it does happen a lot. There was last week, the storm that wasn't.
Well, yeah.
Right.
They had light bulbs to sell.
But there was all those posts all over the web showing flooding in Tacoma. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Tons of flooding in Tacoma. And they're not looking at the date. It says June 18th, 2015.
Yeah.
And I was like, quit sharing a photo or a video.
Well, everybody wants to be the first with the wrong answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's America. Always
that's you,
first.
Right? First with
the wrong answer.
Second with the right.
Yeah, that's me. I got the silver medal in truth. Got the golden bullshit.
So when it ended for the Bob Rivers show, you had shared this before, that you felt like you weren't prepared. Like, oh my God, all of a sudden I'm standing on an island by myself here. Everybody else has kind of gone on to the next phase of their career and I'm unprepared.
Well,
or something like that.
That's. I don't know if I characterized it that way.
You didn't, but I'm kind of making assumptions.
Everyone else was ready to move on from radio. I'm not.
Really?
Yeah.
Move on?
Well, I mean,
Joe moved on.
Jody's still doing a show.
Yeah,
and
she's
I don't
on
want to talk
KJR,
about
right?
that. Yeah.
And what about Pedro and his wife?
They're still working at that same show. They got retained by the old company.
Oh.
And the company wanted to change. They didn't want to have it's the what's left of the Bob Rivers show.
Right, slightly different format.
I get it.
Yeah.
Although there are shows, and that's what I thought we should have done. I think with the audience that we developed, I think we earned the right to do that. But it's not my company.
Yeah.
It's not KSPK or whatever. It's not K-Spike. It's somebody else's company, and they wanted to.
Good.
They wanted to do something different. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I, and I was told by so many people, radio's devolving, man. It's not what it used to be. You'll never make the money you used to make. You'll never have the opportunities you used to do. You talk about going to meet bands backstage. That shit doesn't happen anymore. We used to fly to other cities to do junkets for movies. They don't spend that kind of money anymore. Budgets are budgets are budgets. Everything's corporate.
Yeah.
There isn't a prize closet full of free goodies anymore to raid, or there aren't a stack of free CDs anymore up in the thing to everybody gets one. Everything's tightened up.
Future is podcast, baby.
Yeah, well, that's it's why we're here, because you should think about doing podcasting because radio's not there anymore, and so, but I know what I know, and I'm comfortable in what I know I can do.
Right.
And when you're 50 plus, like I am, it's starting over sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It's scary. It's terrifying.
But you also know your stuff.
Well, I
and you've done your
that.
20,000 hours.
Yeah. So I'm not ready to give up the ghost yet.
Yeah.
Joe's teaching high school radio, which is great because it's still radio and it's passion.
Right.
And he's brilliant.
And it's
at
a gig.
And he's wonderful. It's what he was born to do. I think.
I never met him.
Oh, Joe's wonderful. And we talked about the Bob Rivers show, and I didn't mention Joe's name. I should be flogged for that. Bob was the brains of the outfit, and I might have been the muscle of the outfit, but Joe was the heart of the outfit.
That's fair.
We always equate ourselves to the Wizard of Oz. Bob was the Scarecrow. I was the Lion, and Joe was the Tin Man.
Oh.
And whoever was doing news that week was Dorothy.
And almost always a woman as well.
Yeah.
Right,
well, you had to have a female perspective on the show.
Right. It was Casey that I was thinking of, by the way.
Casey, I loved Casey. She was really smart and whip smart and beautiful and funny. And we had some genius women on our show over the years. Yeah. We really, really do. We're blessed to work with some wonderful people.
But you guys were like a launch pad for all those women. They always went on somewhere else and went on TV or whatever.
Bob could be difficult to work with. And since Joe and I were both kind of comfortable and lazy to a degree, and a lot of women won't in radio especially don't put up with that shit.
Right, they were ambitious.
Or just tired of the bullshit, tired of being whatever. Or they moved on to other gigs. Casey went on to TV and she left. I want to go do TV. When Maura Gallucci decided not to move to another station with us for a second time, it's because we took like 6 months off and she got to see how great her kids were.
Right.
And morning radio means you don't get to wake up with your kids ever.
Yeah.
And she, after 6 months of her kids, she's like, I'm not going to miss this. I'm not going to pay somebody else. I'm not going to work so I can pay somebody else and miss this time with my kids. Smart woman. Yeah. Brilliant. I love Maura Gallucci. I love her.
Yeah. You said that the first time that she was the one. She was the one that you just...
I've had a flaming crush on her since the day I met her.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful because when you're attracted to somebody like that and you get a chance to work with them every day, it's such a cool vibe, such a cool chemistry and underlying tension of it. That's so...
I have a crush on you, Spike.
Well, I appreciate that. That's why I wore this skirt.
It's a grass.
I knew
folks,
it.
It's grass.
It's grass. I know. Quit smoking.
Wait. I got to say that it's a marijuana roach
skirt. Yeah. I got a DJ Maxx.
Yeah.
I paid half price.
Oh, Mr. Rags.
Yeah.
Remember Mr. Rags?
I remember the name. What is
Mr. Rags? Another one of those crappy, Levi's only mall stores from the early 80s. Yeah, okay. Mr. Rags.
Okay.
Anyway, so where do we go from here, Spike? What do we talk about now? I mean, you've shared that, but did it end on a good note? Did the Bob Rivers show?
Not for me. No,
okay.
No. And
I
wasn't
pissed?
Yeah, and I wasn't. I'm not going to get in. I appreciate.
Okay.
That's we were dealt with in less than a disingenuous fashion. I'll leave it at that.
God bless you. Okay.
And while I most of it was my own fault. Because I was trusting to people that I felt I loved,
right,
and was totally undercut, and
we'll stop.
So that's on me. I should have been better prepared for that. I shouldn't have assumed anything. I should have set myself up better to be ready to move on, and I wasn't. So I'm kind of grasping at straws, not wanting to move out of radio. So I'm doing what I'm doing until I can get back to doing what I want to do.
So now radio's not what it was, say, in the 70s and 80s
or 90s or 2000s.
Okay,
right.
But and I'm not asking for particulars, so please don't feel compelled. Is it even capable of creating a living anymore?
Sure.
Okay.
Because cream rises to the top.
Okay. So the good guys still get the gigs.
Will always get work.
Okay.
If you've got something that nobody else can do and something that an audience wants to take part in, that an employer can monetize, you'll work and you'll get paid well for that.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, that's interesting to me. It just seems, and I don't think it's a dying medium. So don't get me wrong.
It's not a dying medium.
But it's a diluting medium. It's definitely gotten smaller and tighter.
I would agree and disagree.
Okay.
In this much. it's just explorers have always explored.
Just changed.
You're right. Explorers were, whether you were in a canoe or a sailing ship or a rocket ship, you're still doing the same fucking thing. You're just getting there a different way.
Okay.
You're still communicating to people. You're still sharing with an audience on a daily basis and making a relationship that people want to be a part of. It's just how they get it now.
Yeah.
It's just a different platform. Podcasting is probably the most generous medium with which to share your life with people, with which to build a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
On broadcast radio, you're subjected to the whims of the people who own the station.
Yeah.
To my point earlier. Or, you've got to play these songs and you've got to interrupt the whole flow for these commercials because we're really only here to pay the bills.
Yeah.
I'm glad you came back every morning, but we're only have you here to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Or to sell you this shit, to play these commercials.
I always wondered how that worked. I'm sorry, I didn't mean
No.
I always wondered how that worked in regards to time. Like, you'd always hear, man, we're over 5 minutes or we're
Right,
over 6
right.
minutes. I mean,
Why is that important?
well, no, I mean, I get that, basically 8:20, 8:40 and top of the hours is when everything from advertising to news, et cetera, especially on these talk shows.
Well, that's subject to your own personal game plan.
Okay.
Some shows play one break of 15 minutes at a time, and they talk for 45 minutes. And that's shitty to your advertisers because who the fuck's going to sit through 15 minutes of commercials?
I'm going to flip the channel.
Right. And the ratings system, we haven't talked about the ratings, but how they monitor ratings changed 10, 15 years ago to a diary-based system, which was the old Arbitron radio diary. People would get these diaries in the mail.
Right.
And they'd ask you to keep a diary for a week, write down what you listen to for a week. And then send it back in, and we'll send you $10. And we'll send out so many per zip code in a metropolitan area. Say we send out 5,000, and if 400 come back, those will each be weighted to how many people are in that market. Each one is then worth 50,000 people, or if more come back, they're all worth 20,000 people, whatever.
Right.
They're weighted. And at the end of the week, nobody kept it with them. A couple of total geeks kept it with them.
Yeah, 5 people.
Right, but at the end of the week, people say, "Oh yeah, I listen to blah 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 blah," and wrote it down. Oh, I love Bob Rivers. So I wrote down. I listen to him 4 hours a day every day a week. Like Stern. There was a thing. I went to a conference one time. It was like Howard Stern got it. Here's a diary from Howard Stern. Listen to Howard Stern 80 hours a week. Well, he's only on for 20, so that's really great.
Good
but
for
he's
you.
a fan. People's a fan. But then they evolved to a what's called a PPM, which is what's out there now. Not to get too deep in the weeds for you folks, but it's literally a
Parts per million?
personal people meter.
Okay.
And literally, it's like a pager that people carry around, and it listens, and it hears what you hear. So it's an honest interpretation of what ratings really are.
Wow. That's actually scary.
It is kind of scary, but it's funny because now when people say, "Oh, I listen to the Bob Rivers Show from 6 to 10 every day," but they didn't.
Right.
When we started playing commercials, they changed the channel. When we got boring, they changed the channel.
Yeah.
And it happens, but this thing tells you exactly where people do go and where they do listen.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that that's a more honest assessment of it, because all systems are gamed, just like our elections.
Yeah.
PPM is if you listen for 5 minutes or you get 15 minutes worth of credit.
Yeah.
Literally, think about that.
That's crazy.
And radio is, how many people listens for 50 minutes? It's called a quarter hour.
Uh-huh.
Rating is built up of 2 parts: how many people listen and how long they listen. That's how ratings are built. It's AQ, average quarter hour, how many people are listening, and how many and TSL, time spent listening. So if you play 2 songs in a row on a pop station and you get people for 6 minutes, you get 15 minutes worth of credit.
Huh.
I mean, when the ratings changed to PPM, music stations went through the roof, because if you played 2 songs and people listened, you got 15 minutes worth of credit.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yes. Yes. I think I'm on the right track. Yeah.
Okay. So, for example, and I love Kent and Allen to keep a job like they have for as long as, and they're pros, consummate
they've been
pros.
around a long time.
Right. But when the diary system was out, they were like, down in the 10s, 12th place, whatever. And I may be this may be completely erroneous.
Yeah.
But they weren't like, owning the market.
Right.
When PPM comes out, they skyrocket to number 1.
Right.
Did they suddenly become relevant again after 25 years in the market?
Right.
Do people really want a computer that bad every single day of their lives?
Right.
No, the system was gamed to reward music.
It's like what happened with Garth Brooks, when all of a sudden he was in the top 10 in pop. And you're like, what? How's that possible? You're a country artist.
Right.
But because they changed the way the system works, then Billboard, it pulled everything in.
Right. Well, so there's people who argue in radio that there was collusion between the owners of radio companies and the ratings people, so that they wouldn't have to pay people like big name radio shows like Bob Rivers.
So wouldn't the answer be, of course?
No, because
From
if a station,
the outsider, right?
If a station playing all music is getting better ratings, if a jukebox is rating better than a talk show,
yeah,
because of the way the rating system was now constructed,
yeah,
you just save the owners a ton of money. They don't have to pay big talent anymore.
yeah.
The big talents are getting cut left and right.
Hence Jack FM.
Right, exactly.
Wow. Is it how can you even talk about how Jack operates on the inside? Because I know they're here.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can or not. I can tell you that I've told you already how Jack works. I've already told you.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what
I mean, Jack is a station it's a jukebox.
Yeah.
It's a well researched and carefully programmed jukebox.
Yeah.
The research, it's not just put an iPod on shuffle. It's really, really, really not. It's much deeper than that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stations out there that do that now, that make the cost of humanity on the building really, really, a non-factor,
right?
An unnecessary expense from the way the ratings are constructed.
It's kind of like an electronic checkout at McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
You just don't need a person anymore.
Right. But that being said, if you can be a human that engages an audience that people care about, that they can relate to, that they've got a relationship with, that's something that you can't duplicate.
That's why this has got to take off. Buddy.
Right. Well, that's why I want to get back on the radio and be a part of my audience's life again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do. I want to do that.
Yeah.
Mostly because I'm a narcissist who wants to be told how much people love me.
But people, I think, and again, I know I'm sitting across the table from you and I've looked in your eyes for 3 weeks now. But I think people really do truly miss you and love you, and they ask it all the time. I think a thing that you need to learn. Of course, we've talked about this as well, so I apologize to the listeners. But the thing you really need to learn is how to market yourself on social media.
Oh, I know,
because people are starting to forget.
I'm sure.
And you don't want that.
I don't.
You've earned it.
And I know that that's necessary.
Yeah, yeah.
But as all old people trying to learn new shit, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And to my earlier comment, I'm pretty lazy.
Yeah.
I really am.
I'm always over calling you and pushing you. Dude.
And it's not that I don't care. It's just, I am easily distracted. I've got the mind of an artist who can't focus on shit. I need to bounce around.
Do you take meds? ADD, ADHD, blah, blah, blah.
No, not really. I don't.
Either.
Does that help?
I don't think so.
I mean, maybe if it helps. I've got the ability to do drugs. I know I've shown in the past the proclivity for that. Who knows? I mean, who knows? It's funny. We talked. I wanted to talk about entertainment this week because I thought we could talk about a lot of different things.
We totally didn't.
Well, we kind of did. We kind of did, right?
But was it entertaining?
I didn't say I was going to be entertaining. I just want to talk about entertainment.
Yes, I know. Giving you a hard time.
I let my 12-year-old watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show this week.
Oh.
Yeah. We watched it with her, Mom and I, and I, brought out some toast and some rice and a squirt bottle.
Did you get the tissue?
What? I did not. I didn't go deep.
Did you spin the screen?
Melissa did at the end. Yeah, she spun the screen.
Awesome.
Yeah, she got up and did that. And Darby thought it was great.
Yeah.
There were a couple of moments that were a little too much for. We're very, very, very lucky that she's still got a very element of child to her. She's about to turn 13, and she's still got a lot of little kid left in her, and I'm blessed that that's the case.
Yeah.
Because I've met parents whose kids just grow up way too fast, and I think about what I was doing in 7th grade. And oh my God, I can't believe what I was doing in 7th grade.
Yeah.
If my kid was doing that, what I was doing in 7th grade, I'd lose my mind.
But Spike, it was a different world. I mean,
it was.
We are like the parents that told our kids to watch out for Elvis in the 50s. We are that generation now. We're in that place that we say this new thing is different and it's scary and it's subversive and it's going to hurt my kids. Because we grew up in a world where we could be latchkey kids. One, there was nothing wrong with it.
Right.
And two, we had a blast.
Right.
And we didn't do anything that killed us. We did stuff that hurt us.
Right.
We did stupid stuff. We stuck our feet in beehives. We did, we ran down the street and played with Susan for a while in the afternoon.
But we set up a tent in the backyard of Gerald's house. You know what? Yeah, we did.
But we lived in a world where our phone number was listed in the white pages, and by the way, with our address next to it.
Yeah.
And we didn't worry about somebody coming over and murdering our children while we were gone because they didn't like what we said online.
Right.
That shit happens.
Oh, yeah, it does.
It's insane. What is wrong? Why? Too many people?
No, too much entertainment. Too much, and I say that with complete faith in what I'm saying. There is too much entertainment. There's too many channels, and all these channels have to be filled. And when you have, if you had three people if three people were able to run for president, I sorry to keep harkening back to politics, but that's on top of my mind right now. If only 3 people were allowed to run for president, they would be the best people. Thus the primary process, okay? That's usually how it works. But when 16 people get to stand on stage and blow smoke up their ass, you get it's a lower bottom line, a lower pool. If there are 200 channels, you got to fill them all. You can put weird shit on. I honestly think people say, oh no, people have always had these proclivities for weirdness. There have always been deviance. We've nurtured this deviance in people by having weird channels, by having 18 channels of porn on my TV cable system at home.
Yeah.
So you feed this beast that lives within people, and you make it normal and okay because there's other people who do it too. Right. That sense of community makes everything okay. Oh, if I'm the one who feels this way, then it must not be wrong to feel this way.
Right.
If I'm not the only one who feels that people are sneaking in people sleeping in the country to vote 18 times. If other people feel that way, it must be okay to feel that way. It's not okay to feel that way because it's not true.
Right.
It's not right.
Right.
So kids are subjected to more dangerous people because we've fed these dangerous people. We've okayed this behavior and this belief. Right. We've okayed that by having a channel dedicated to it.
A whole bunch of lowest common denominator crap that's easy to consume.
Yeah. And if I can watch a channel about, whipping people, must be okay to whip people. Yeah. Other people think so too, so I'm not that far out the norm. And now my kids are subjected to a world full of people who think it's okay to be who they really shouldn't be. It's not okay to be these people.
Yeah.
But they think it is. So our kids are in more danger.
Yeah.
Our kid gets online nowadays and anybody can be poaching them.
Yeah, and it's a big difference to go down that road. It's a big difference between Kim Kardashian showing her ass to the world to the Bugs Bunny and the Roadrunner cartoons jumping off a cliff and surviving. People say, well, they're not going to do this because, come on. Just because I saw Wile E. Coyote fall off a cliff doesn't mean I'm going to fall off a cliff. I recognize, but here's the difference. That's a cartoon. That's a real person.
That's a real person making billions
of dollars being a weird dumbass.
Right. And now say, why? That's all I got to do is that.
Yeah.
How many people are famous because they had a sex tape?
A lot.
Way too many.
Yeah.
That's a viable road to...
People want to do it.
That's a viable road to celebrity and fame?
Yeah. People want to do it.
To my earlier point, it must be okay because so many people do it. That's not okay.
Yeah, and if they don't want to do it, their parents ensure that they want to do it because their parents didn't get what they wanted when they were younger, so now they want to live vicariously through their children.
Oh, I didn't even get started on those
Which is
people.
what's happening with somebody I know from a certain part of Washington State who now lives down in Los Angeles.
Kid's going to be a star because I couldn't.
Yeah.
Sports. It happens in sports. It happens in entertainment.
Yeah.
Stage moms are all failed actresses.
Yeah.
It's cool to support your kid if it's what your kid wants to do, but that all things to extreme are too much.
Yeah.
Hell, man, sugar will kill you.
Yeah.
Will kill you.
I went to church once.
Church will kill you.
Let me finish.
All wars are based on religion, pal.
And
we're back.
I like my church.
No, I like all churches.
But I went to a church once down in Ocean Shores that my mother and father went to before my father passed away. And Courtney Stodden. Do you know who she is?
She's the child bride of the failed B actor.
Correct.
Yeah. Is it her that I keep seeing in pictures at Walmart? Shopping with her tits and stuff.
Probably.
That's sad.
It's so sad. But
she came and went.
But I met her. Yeah, but not really.
She was normal.
I met her once. I saw her once at the church she went to in Ocean Shores, and
I didn't realize she was local.
She's from Ocean Shores.
Wow.
And so at the time she would have been 13 or 14. She showed up in church in a leather print dress. Bouffant, the puffed up hair, boobs sticking out at 13. And I remember, this is why I remember, because I went, whoa, who's that?
Right.
It was part one.
Is she here for the cleansing?
Yeah. And part two was, are those real?
Damn, Skippy.
And then part three, I looked at my mom and I go, Mom, who's that? why are they here?
Right.
But who is that person? She goes, and then she was really kind of just like, I felt sorry for them because, and so it turns out that, eventually Courtney married Doug Hutchinson,
right?
Who played in The Green Mile.
Sure. I remember.
The terrible character in The Green Mile.
He played himself in The Green Mile too, by the way, from what I'm hearing,
Basically. And then her mother had gone through, I guess, a divorce and wanted to live vicariously through her daughter's burgeoning,
stardom,
busty
sexuality,
fame. And then the next thing you know, they're all hanging out, living together in Los Angeles. And then Courtney's doing sex tapes and they're doing like, what do you call it? It's not real, but they call it real. TV, reality TV.
And they're couldn't come up with reality TV.
I know. I'm sorry. and they're, thank you, professional.
Cosplay? I don't know what.
No, but they're doing reality TV and basically it's all about sex. And I'm like, and of course everybody, it's just so lascivious, right? Everybody's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Or that's disgusting. Those breasts can't be real. And I'm like, all I see is sadness.
Yeah,
that's all I see, and this is not from a Christian point of view. This is just sad. To me.
That's but they're being fed by basic human psychology, and that's, it wins on so many levels. I'm better than her. It makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah,
I like watching that. I'm a voyeur. It wins on that level. It's got so many avenues to be successful.
So is TMZ a good thing?
No. Is
there anything good to be found in something like TMZ?
Sure, if they can give us information that might not have otherwise gotten out,
like Live Leak on the web. Are you familiar with Live Leak?
I'm not familiar with Live Leak.
Live Leak is basically a YouTube for gore videos.
No.
Okay.
What
people say it's good to see. I shouldn't say good. It's important to see the news that we don't report in America. Children killed on the streets of Aleppo.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Mobster violence in Guadalajara.
Okay. I can see where it's nice to have access to what's really going on in the world.
Right. Uncensored news.
I can see where that's got its moments, but it's also a very dangerous thing that could be just agree. Feeding the beast.
Well, it does. The thing is it does.
That's where the money is, though.
But don't we?
They don't make any money delivering news to people who couldn't get it elsewhere. They don't make any money being the only resource for what's really going on.
Right.
The money's in feeding a hunger, an appetite for that horrific shit.
Yeah.
That's where the money is, right? That's what,
But don't we deserve to know everything? Or do we care? Should we care?
Yes and yes. Is it good for us? Probably not.
Yeah.
Religion's a salve for the masses, right? Isn't that the easiest way to classify religion, right? And isn't it basically...
Unless you know the truth.
Isn't religion just a chance, a mechanism for keeping people in line to do the right thing? I don't say keeping people in line, but it's a how-to.
Certainly
for
some
civilization.
I would say certainly some churches and or sects or whatever you would call would definitely say that. Yeah, it's an absolute way. It's a whipping. Just let you go that direction.
Well, they're guardrails for civilization.
Yeah, that's fair. Bumpers on a bowling alley.
Right. Keep us all on the path of not. And there's the golden rule. That's pretty much, if you got that one, you're good.
Yeah.
Do unto others. That's pretty much, that's enough.
Yeah.
If you follow it to its degree in everything, that's going to be enough.
Right.
And like anything else, like it can be exploited and perverted. And Islamic's not a bad religion. Islamic terrorism is terrible. So is Christian terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
So is bombing an abortion clinic. It's horrific. It's horrific. It's no better because it's a religion you happen to believe in, or I happen, or it's our hometown religion.
Right.
It doesn't make it any better.
It all makes me so sad. It just makes me so sad.
It's terribly sad. There's a billion Muslims in the world. You think it was a religion of violence, any of us would still be alive? It's true. Of course, not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims. No, not really. It's like saying, not all Republicans are racist, but all racists are Republican.
Right.
That's not true either.
Right. There is no catch-all standard.
Well, generalization is one of the 7 deadly sins, right?
Yeah.
That's
what Morgan Freeman says anyway. Generalization.
He's right.
Yeah.
Paint them all with the same brush. You're cheating them and you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been fun, huh? Entertaining.
It just got good and you ruined it.
No. Not at all. Not at all, man.
No, I know.
No, not at all.
Yeah, no, I had a really great conversation with a young lady last night who shall remain nameless. And she's,
we'll call her Trixie.
well, we could call her Trixie based on what she's gone through.
Oh, wow.
And she's really, really, I got to be really cautious. I just don't want to, I don't want to even reference anything that could point people in the direction of who this person is. But she's gone through extraordinarily terrible, difficult, painful, brutal, evil things.
Wow.
Raised in a house of violence and fear and corruption and sexual abuse and physical abuse and mental abuse. And she's young and lost, and it's like she's carrying 500 demons with her. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. This level of darkness that follows her. Like, I wish I could see into the spirit realm and like peel them off her, because it's just black crap all around her.
What gave you reason to be with her?
Friends of friends of friends.
Okay, were you there trying to maybe help her out a little bit and just let her speak and somebody listen to her?
Yep.
Good for you.
Yeah. And just so you're listening, folks, the person I'm speaking about is not the person I interviewed last night. That person will be on another podcast. But it's just a friend of a friend of a friend that I had a chance to talk to late last night. And it just broke my heart because you can tell she protects herself at all costs from what she senses is manipulation around her at all.
How could she not?
How could she not?
Yeah.
And the thing is
good for her for figuring it out.
She has figured it out, but what's so sad, Spike, is she hasn't had a chance to just be who she is, because there's always somebody parked off to the side that can't wait to jump in when that guy leaves. It's terrible. And so it's my hope that this sort of thing, that it can evolve into literally what I talk about, the rock star superhero. I love the idea of being a superhero and assisting people through the difficulties of life, or finding a solution for them from listenership, right? Like if you and I came in here today and we talked about, like I did 2 weeks ago, talking about my struggles, my personal struggles with moderate level sex addiction. I'm not a maniac, but I've struggled with it. And if somebody heard it, I would want them to call me up and say, this is what I did, this is what I do, this is what I've gone through, and this is what helped me.
Well, yeah.
And or vice versa. Rob, I'm really bad. Can you help me?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's the essence of all recovery.
Right.
You're not alone.
Right.
I know the way out. Let me show you where it is.
Yeah. I just want to, I don't know. I mean, I know
it's funny. Like the same thing I cite for, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, please.
The same thing I cite for, for the root of all evil is that it's okay. That sense of, we've all been there, other people feel this way too. So it must be okay to like watching kids get whipped or whatever. But that's that same sense of community and I'm not alone that helps people get better.
Yeah.
You screwed up and you did a little drugs and maybe you did a lot of drugs. Maybe it cost you a lot in your life. Other people have too. You're not the only person. You're not alone.
Yeah.
So it's, like all things, like religion, it can be, good or bad. It depends on what kind of tool, this is a hammer. I can build you a house or I can crush your skull.
Yeah.
It's still just a hammer.
Well, and that's what the reason I went down that road is because that young lady was talking about how religion was used as a way to drive her into those terrible things that a number of people used her for.
Wow.
And
that's just a perversion of the faith, right?
Exactly. And so frustrating to me because I felt absolutely compelled to talk to her as a Christian man.
Okay.
I felt compelled to not to share the gospel with her. That's not what I mean, or try to get her to convert or some stupid crap. Okay, right. Not to be a Christian to her. Okay,
right.
But I still felt compelled to share what I would hope would be the good parts of what I believe, that there is hope, that there is love, that it's not putting you in a corner because you're supposed to be a sex slave to me, blah, 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 right?
Okay.
And here I am talking to her, and I'm like, I'm swearing, and I'm like, because I was so pissed off about her story. I was so pissed off that it had occurred to her that I just wanted her to know that somebody who like myself, who barely knows her, needs to let her know that it's okay, right? That there are good people out
Sure.
there. So again, I guess I just want to say, yeah, I don't want to pigeonhole anybody because I have some Muslim friends who I really, really, really like.
Right. Well, assholes come in all colors and religious faiths.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to quote the great Donnie Osmond, but one bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch, girl. That can be true of everything.
That's
just because there are terrorists in this religious faith or that religious faith, don't let it paint the religion. And that's what screws me with guys like Trump, the whole
or Timothy McVeigh,
or whatever it might be, whatever you're using to generalize that group by the actions of this small percentage of them. With Donald Trump Jr., there are 3 Skittles in that bowl that will kill you. Will you eat any of these Skittles?
Yeah.
Well, okay. If there were 18 swimming pools full of Skittles and 3 of them were terrorists, poison, that's the real equation of the amount of refugees that want to come into this country that may end up having a stick up their ass and the perverted desire to kill people for their faith.
Right.
Don't use paranoia as if your argument is paranoia, you need a better fucking argument.
Yeah, Christ didn't.
If your religion tells you to kill people, you don't really get it.
Yeah.
You don't get you missed the message.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to down it out, man. I know we were having fun. That's okay though. Isn't that what this is all about though? This medium, right? It's about not being pigeonholed by it's got to be funny.
No, Adam Carolla. He was on what? I don't know. I think he was actually a CBS guy
He stopped through for a while. We had him on for a little bit.
Yeah. So he was on for what, 2 or 3 years,
something like that,
and then got dumped because he basically pissed off too many suits.
Right.
And then he went and took it around with his podcast, and he said, I was just listening to him the other day on another famous podcast that I don't want to name because I don't want you guys to go there and shop instead of here. He was on a podcast, and he basically said, all I did was I took my radio show and put it on a podcast.
Right.
I do the exact same format.
Right.
Everything is exactly the same. And he's right. It is exactly the same.
But it didn't fit into their box to make them money the way they knew they could make money.
Correct. And all of a sudden he didn't have to worry about censorship and all these other things. And not that he needed to swear either. It was just he didn't have to worry about fitting in the box.
Right.
He could just be him. So that's what we need to do. We just need to consolidate our ideas and so I would encourage people who are listening, if there's anybody left,
First off, you are a grand prize winner.
Yes. Door number 3 has 2 boxes of salt behind it. Let us know what you like and what you hate. I'm actually going to put a comment box, if you will, on my website, so you'll be able to make lewd, disgusting comments towards us and tell us what you think is fabulous about this and what is absolute dog crap. Spike and I have been talking about having this quote unquote second podcast on the Rockstar Superhero Radio Network. And we're going to keep doing this until you tell us to stop. So there it is.
Cool.
Rock and roll.
Hope you had fun.
I did.
Good, me too.
Did they?
They'll let us know.